Hey everyone, this is Brian Lamb here to share another update on Focusable. Version 14 should be released in the App Store and correspondingly on the web. It has a bunch of updates I want to quickly run you through here on video. So the biggest thing you see when you open up the app is the screen on the left. Is the start screen is a little bit different. We've changed the order of things. Used to be when you logged in, you would see the recharge screen, which I'll swipe to in a second. And now you're actually on a page with a start button, and that start button takes you right into the pulse timer experience to start focusing. We've made this change with some feedback and with a lot of testing. We've been finding in our own uses that at least over 50% of the time, we tend to start using Focusable by just diving in to do work. And a slight minority of the time, we actually start with a recharge experience. And so we changed the user interface to actually start and work that way. So if I click start right now, it'll just dive right into the refocus experience the way it worked in the last release. Or if I swipe to the left, it'll take me to the same recharge menu there. So that's one of the biggest changes here to be familiarized with. There's another little one I want to draw your attention to before I take you a step into that, and that's that little pencil icon up at the top. This is an oft requested feature, actually, which is to be able to state the intent of what you're working on and see it while you're doing your work. So if I click on that, you'll see a little menu comes up. I'm going to trial the intention feature. Done. And you'll see, as I've entered that little pencil turns into something that I can see and remind myself of what I'm working on. So whatever it is I plan to work on now, I have a constant and persistent reminder of that throughout the experience. So I'll show you how it works when the start button is clicked. Click that and you'll see the pulse timer starts. I encourage you to breathe in, breathe out, and get started with your work and move past distractions. Now, at any time, of course, you could swipe back and do a recharge experience. This is the same recharge that you would have seen before with the customized set of activities that you've built to make your breaks quick and accessible throughout the day. For me, these are some of my favorite ones: power breathing, power blink, 4-7-8, and more. You can always access the full list of exercises and adjust what you see there. Now, there's a few other new activities worth noting, which is why I pulled up this menu. You can see that there is a push-up activity, there's a wall sit activity, and a plank activity. What we've been trying to do is build out more physical activities by popular request, as opposed to breathing or eye exercises. And again, these are all little quick exercise snacks. You can do them in 1 to 2 minutes, something that gets your energy level up and helps you gain the momentum you need to focus. So you can always swipe back and restart that pulse timer, and things work as they always have. And you can really just navigate back and forth between those two or jump over to recording whenever you're ready. Now, the pulse timer works the way it worked before in that it largely will run for 5 minutes unless you adjust it on the bottom, or you can adjust it out to 10 minutes. And then when that expires, you're left in the refocus space and allowed to work for 45 minutes until the recording notification shows up and reminds you to capture what you're working on and perhaps take a break. Now, that's all the same as where it was in the last release. When I click done, you'll see that there is a new feature here. The menu's been changed a little bit. You can see where I've entered my intention is the upper field called the focus. And that's retained from what I entered before. Keeps that information if you entered it. By the way, there's no obligation to use that, so you can also ignore it and just start using Focusable without that, but if you enter that, it shows up here. The second one is a new feature, which is a label. It's a way to categorize your task. And this is a new feature that we're going to be building more and more capabilities around, but it's a way for me to start to capture categories of activities, like trial use of something. I'm going to save that. It'll come up on the screen and you'll see that it applied the label trial. It stated the intention that I used during that task at the top. And these are just some general card improvements that you'll see in the activities when you use them. In this case, we'll capture the recharge activities that I went through, the time I spent focusing, and how many times I used the pulse timer, which is something that is something we're playing with and seeing if people find value. And I personally, when I'm doing a focus session to write a blog or something like that, I may use the pulse timer several times. So it's interesting for me to see how many times I use it and track that over time. Now, one other thing that's an improvement here, and this is by popular request as well, is the ability to stop an activity and resume that activity. So now I can go in, and as you can see here in the menu, I can click resume, and I could re-enter that activity and start working on it again. It'll pick up right from the pulse timer again, the way it normally starts. But in this case, you'll be adding either time, other statistics like pulses, the recharge activities you did, or in the case where you're recording, it'll allow you to keep building more and more recordings into that activity and allow you to track an activity over time, over the course of a day, over the course of a week, whatever it is that you'd like to do. Those are the main updates in version 14. As I mentioned, you should be able to access them immediately in the App Store or online. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thanks for your attention.